Today in our 2018 Mazda CX-5, we're going to take a look at and show you how to install the CURT Class 2 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver. So here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed. The cross tube is going to be completely hidden behind the bumper, and all we're going to see is that receiver tube sticking out, so it's not going to take away from the looks of our Mazda. Our hitch is going to give us an 1¼ inch by an 1¼ inch receiver tube opening, and it's going to be great for bike racks, cargo carriers, or some light duty towing. And the way we're going to mount any of our accessories is the hitch pin hole here on the side. It is going to accept a standard 1/2 inch pin and clip. Now these are not included in the kit, but you can pick them up here at etrailer.com along with some locking devices to keep your accessories secure. Now our safety chain connection points are going to be a loop style welded to the bottom of the receiver tube. And as you can see, we'll have plenty of room to get most size hooks on or off. And the fact that our hitch pin is just slightly off center from our safety chain connection point means that we're going to have less of a chance of interference getting our hooks on and off with our pin and clip. Now as far as the weight capacity goes, our hitch is going to have a 350-pound tongue weight, which is the maximum downward force at the receiver tube. Along with a 3,500-pound gross trailer weight rating, that's the amount our hitch can pull, including the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. Now with all those numbers in mind, I always recommend that you double check your Mazda's owner's manual because you don't want to exceed the manufacturer's recommended weight. I'd like to give you a few measurements, and that's going to help you whenever you're looking for an accessory for your new hitch. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, you're right about 3 inches. That measurement is going to come in handy when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you have enough room and that they're not going to come in contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, it's right about 14 inches. And that height, I would definitely recommend a bike rack or a cargo carrier with a raised shank. That way we get a little bit more ground clearance out of it. Now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we're going to come to the back of our Mazda, and at the very bottom of the bumper in the center, we'll have this plastic panel here. We're going to have 2 push pin fasteners that are holding it in place, one on each end. We're going to pull that panel out so we can take a flat blade screwdriver. There's a small notch in the center. We'll pop out the center section of that push pin, then we can pull out the rest of it. With the push pins removed, we come in towards the center. We're going to have this kind of rectangle hole. You take your screwdriver, there's a small tab in there. You're going to want to push in on that tab so we can pull the rest of the panel down. And this panel is not going to get reinstalled. Now if we come to the driver's side frame rail, the very back, it's going to be really close to the muffler. We're going to have this wire that's attached to the side of the frame. We need to pop that out so we can make some room. So I'm just going to take a flathead screwdriver, come behind the clip, and pop it out of the frame. Now we just want to move it out of the way for now. But if we look at the bottom of the frame, we'll have a large hole at the very back. If we move to the outside of the frame, there's going to be a sticker that's covering up a hole on the outer edge of the frame. Now in our case, it's covered up with this undercoating, so we're going to have to scrape the undercoating off and take the sticker off so we can expose that hole. And if we move forward on the frame rail towards the front of the vehicle, we'll find another square that's going to have it taped up. We're going to want to remove that as well. And we're going to have the same 2 locations on the passenger side frame rail as well as that wire that we're going to have to remove. So you want to pull the wire off the passenger side as well. And remove the stickers that are covering up the holes in the frame. Now both holes on both sides of the frame that are going towards the front of the vehicle are going to be threaded. And then the one at the back is just going to be a hole that's in the side of the frame. We're going to have to get some hardware in place. We're going to need to lower our exhaust down so we can get our hitch in place. So you want to make sure you put up a support strap so we don't put too much stress on the exhaust when it comes down. If we move to the back of our muffler, on each side we're going to have 2 rubber isolators. We'll take a little bit of spray lubricant. I'm going to spray down the hanger and the isolator. Then I'm going to take a pry bar. I'm going to pry the isolator off so the exhaust can come down. And you want to do that for all 4 isolators, 2 on each side. And with the exhaust off the hangers, we're just going to loosen the strap up so it can come down a little bit. We have a little bit more room to work with. Now if we come back to our frame, the very back hole is going to be one of our mounting locations. So we'll take our pull wire and put a slight bend in it, and we'll take the coiled end. We're going to go in the hole and come down through the bottom of the large hole. That's going to be our access hole to get the hardware in place. Then we'll grab one of our square hole spacer blocks, slide it over the wire. We can grab one of our carriage bolts and we'll thread it onto the end. We're going to push each piece into the frame one at a time. And we'll pull on our pull wire. Till we get the bolt to come out. Now for right now, we just want to make sure that it does come out, but we're going to leave the wire attached and just push it into the inside of the frame. And we'll repeat that on the other side of our Mazda as well. Now if we get our hitch, we'll notice that we're going to have 3 holes in the side plates. The one on the very end, and on the other end are going to be our mounting locations. This one in the center is going to be so that we can put that wire back in the frame. But before we lift our hitch up, we want to put some washers in between our hitch and the frame. It's going to be really difficult to do that while we're lifting it up at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my washer, and I'm going to take some tape. I'm just going to tape my washer to the side of my hitch. That way it'll at least hold it in place while I'm lifting the hitch up. We want to do that for all 4 locations, the 2 on the front and the 2 on the back. And if you use a lot of tape, you just want to make sure you can still get the bolt through and it's not going to interfere. Now with an extra set of hands, we'll lift our hitch up. You want to take your pull wires, we'll go through the corresponding hole in the hitch. We'll lift it over the exhaust. And you want to watch that wire, make sure that you're not going to come in contact with it. Now you're going to want to lift your hitch so it goes behind the rear fascia. And once we have everything lined up, we'll go ahead and pull the pull wire off the bolt. You want to be extra careful not to let it fall back in the frame. And then we'll secure it with a flange nut. We'll do that for both sides. We'll make sure you get at least one piece of hardware in on each side. That way the hitch will support itself and we don't have to worry about it falling down. Now for the forward mounting location on each side, we're going to take a hex bolt from our kit and a conical tooth washer. Just want to make sure those teeth are facing towards the hitch. Slide our washer over our bolt. We may need to kind of pivot the hitch a little bit to line up that rear hole. Then we're going to thread in our hex nut into the weld nuts in the frame. I'm going to come back with a 19mm socket. I'm going to tighten up all my hardware. I'm going to come back with a torque wrench. I'm going to torque all my hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. You want to make sure you go back and repeat that for any remaining hardware you have. And with the hitch in place, we're going to put our exhaust back into position. We'll just slide those rubber isolators back on, and it will help if you spray a little more lubricant on there. It'll be easier to slide those rubber hangers in place. So finally we can remove the support strap that we had for our exhaust, and that'll finish up the installation. That'll finish up your look at the CURT Class 2 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2018 Mazda CX-5.